The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power in the creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. Oh, love that new theme song smell. I figured after, 300 episodes, we should probably change the theme to the program. Believe me, we're all going to miss ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. But, when you have access to an amazing indie artist like Song a Day Jonathan Mann, who has the Guinness World Record for most consecutive days making a song, and he's willing to make a song for your podcast, well, of course you're going to make it the theme to your show. Our thanks to Jonathan Mann for giving us our theme for this week and going forward. So excited for episode 301 and thereafter. Joined this week by my co-host, Metal Dave. How's it going, Metal Dave? Good to see you.
Hey, man. All right. Glad to be on episode 300. This is such a special moment, man. It's so great. It's cool to be back on episode 300,
300?
Yeah, I was just doing the 1-300. Why? Is this now just 301?
Yeah, it rolls over, man. We do this every week. Well, not every week, because we missed last week because my internet failed when I was trying to do the live stream, but we're back now, and you're here for 301. Oh.
Do you have to be here then? Do I still have to? Is the contract that long? It is? Oh, my God. Okay. I got to read them better next time. Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Happy to see you, man. Oh, wanted to drop this one for you real quick. Happy birthday, Metal Dave.
Thank you. Yes, and I did receive the present from you and your wife in the mail today. The little R2-D2 beanie. And for you, those of you at home who are thinking, God, that seems kind of small for your head.
Yeah, that's going to fit you.
No, this is 0 to 3 months for our little baby coming in April. So I will make sure that he or she, don't know yet, will be nice and warm with R2-D2. Thank you, my friend.
You're very, very welcome. Happy birthday. Good to see you again. Good to have you co-hosting. That always puts a smile on my face.
Quick little thing. I'm just curious because we're both now 36. Are you like me? Were you thinking like, oh my God, this is such a non-age, 30 big, 35. Ooh, you're halfway through your 30s. 36. Now it's just the ever speeding decline to 40. The decline to 40 to be over the hill, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But, it's just like, what are we doing here? What is this?
I find that the older I get, the fewer milestone birthdays you get, right? 0 to 10 years old, every one of those is a milestone. And then 10 years old, that's double digits. That's pretty cool. And then 13, you're a teenager. And then 15, you got a restricted license. 16, you're driving a car. 18, you're voting. 20 is like the 2-0. 21, you're drinking. A lot of milestones in there. Yep. Then you get to 30. That's a big, nice round number. And then 32, who cares? 33, who cares? 35, hey, it's a 5 or a 0. That's cool. And then it's 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42.
Now we're solidly in our this is actually the last year of our mid-30s, and we're going to the late 30s. And as we're talking, I'm realizing maybe your audience doesn't appreciate this because you seem to be trying to skew younger and younger towards these Gen Zers, towards these people born either at the tail end of the previous century or, God forbid, even this current century, which is just wwhat is that? Why is that? Why were there people born from the years 2000 to 2007. It makes no sense.
It's weird. And I can't understand it. The first time I started teaching my college class and I was starting to get a crop of kids that were born in this millennium, that just freaked me the heck out. I just could not handle that. It was a shock to my system.
My child will be graduating high school in the year 2040.
Oh, God. Oh. Okay, well, on that really wonderful note, that just put me in such a good mood, Metal Dave. Let me tell you what I'm also pretty excited about. Our guest coming up in the next segment, Alex Turbid. He is the co-founder of Beat Connect, a virtual collaboration and jam session platform. I am a big fan of these virtual collaboration platforms that have come out amid this pandemic where, musicians still need to create together, and you can do that over the internet. You can record music together, even in different spaces. You can jam together. Really cool. Going to talk with Alex all about his platform and some of the new stuff he's got coming out.
Cool. All right. Can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be great. So cool. And he's a movie buff, Dave, so we'll ask him some movie questions, which I know makes you smile.
I do apologize, by the way, because last week I had the headphones and everything, but I've had some issues on tonight's show, so it's just looking right at a laptop.
Surprisingly, the audio's coming in pretty okay for you. I was worried, but you sound great, and the beard looks terrific. I think you're giving us a nice, great little look here, man. It must be that the fact that you got the new dad feeling. It gives you a glow. It gives you a glow, man.
I've heard this term. I'm not even sure what it is. Zaddy? What is that? I don't know. I don't know. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Should I Urban Dictionary it right now? I don't know.
I will withhold any opinion of your zaddiness. I'll leave that to the Gen Zers too. And just the people generally more cooler than me to opine on. But I still have a glow, Dave, about our episode 300 that we did together. Uh-huh. That was tremendous. We had so many great musical performances, great interviews, great discussion. It has just put a smile on my face. It's made me so excited for episode 301 and beyond. And I would say my favorite thing about the episode 301 show, and it's very hard to pick. It's like picking amongst your children, But what I liked the most, I think, was the Mary Amber video that we played at the beginning of the show. Mary Amber, the very first guest we had on Break the Business. You were there, Dave. One of my favorite indie creators. I adore her, and I know you're a big fan of hers as well. She had a really terrific song. And for the people who didn't check out episode 300, I do want to give them a chance to hear this song. So, Lauren, if you could we start the show off by just playing Mary Amber's song from episode 300 again? What a great artist she is.
Give them drums and voices, butter them all up, and tell them art is choices. And if they work hard, fill their canvases with paint, pay their dues and say what they need to say, then someday soon they'll be on the big stage. But wait, they can't paint out the lines. The men in suits, they have to like it. There's algorithms and AI that can take their art and hide it. And if they build their fortress on the rug that they're given, then they won't have no support when it gets pulled from under them. 'Cause in this magic new world where everyone can claim their place, it doesn't take much for someone to be replaced. It's getting harder to keep them quiet. The walls are weaker and they can fight it. They've taken over all they can take. Now it's the business that needs to break. They get chained in paper trails. They get pushed in dingy halls. They get buried under code. They get brainwashed to conform. But as they wake up more and more every day, peek behind the curtain and start to see the game, they can lift each other out of the pit that they're in, stand together and break the system. It's getting harder to keep them quiet. The walls are weaker and they can fight it. They've taken over all they can take. Now it's the business that needs to break. It's getting harder
gosh, I love every time I hear that song, I love it more and more because I grab a new lyric from that I adore, and it just embodies everything that we are fighting for on this podcast for the last 5 years. I know you love Mary Amber, Dave. I don't need to sell you on her, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Now, interestingly enough, I picked up on some lyrics in there mentioning paying your dues and everything, and I think that kind of perfectly segues into something you wanted to talk about this evening.
I did. I mean, I'm often inspired in terms of the content I create by things that are happening to creators I know and care about. It gives me ideas for segments. And in this case, not only has Mary Amber's song really influenced where I want to take the show this week, but a lot of things that Mary Amber has told me, both through this song and in other conversations that I've had with her, really has influenced the overall direction I want to take the show going forward for the next 300 episodes. So when we started this adventure, Dave, it was all about like, how are we going to hate the record labels this week? My whole Break the Business book was about the problems with the record label model, and all those problems are still there. But what has emerged in its place, which is something that Mary Amber has talked to me about a lot, is in trying to find a new model away from labels, a lot of artists have moved to platforms like streaming, and like on platforms like Twitch. And in their quest to avoid one form of exploitation, they've found their way into the exploitation that comes from these kind of streaming platforms, the exploitation that Mary sings about in this song, being buried under lines of code, being victim to an algorithm, being victim to the abuse that happens on this platform, and just how hard it can be to make a living. And this is coming from Mary Amber, who by many objective measures is a pretty successful streamer on this platform. She has lots of fans, lots of followers, and even she says it is difficult for her out there, and she often feels lost in this space. And, many creators out there would love to be in the position she's in, so it gives you an idea of how tough this is for her. And so, I mean, I've heard a lot of the same things that she's talked to me about why platforms like live streaming platforms can be tough for creators. The payments can be very low. You don't have a lot of control over your own destiny. You can't just take your fans on Twitch and move them to another platform. Your fans aren't portable. They belong to the platform. Being victim to copyright strikes, where you might wake up one morning and be told by this platform, you've committed a copyright violation. You're going to get a strike. Your channel's going to get taken down. Your livelihood's gone tomorrow. And sometimes that copyright enforcement can be, seems pretty arbitrary. Like, we're actually going through this right now during our stream last week.
Yeah.
We had a video that had a copyright. We were accused of having copyright strike in our video. And the song we used in that video was completely public domain.
Yeah, you had a public domain YouTube thing, one that is specifically created so anyone can use it. Yeah. And the system said, nope, sorry, can't do that. That's sort of weird band song that we had to look up, like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then we played it, and it's like, that's not it at all.
No.
It's just a mess up from the system. So, I mean, it is interesting.
And I wrote to Twitch and, filed a grievance or whatever they call it, and I still haven't heard back, and that part of my video is still muted. So
after 2 weeks, wow.
I know.
So so then obviously, you can imagine that if someone's trying to monetize and make a living off of that, then that's death. That's essentially
it's very unpredictable. And couple that also with just the abuse and harassment that creators on these platforms can face, hate raids on their comment section. Recently, a bunch of the Twitch streamers did a 24-hour protest back in September to protest the harassment on Twitch. So this is something that creators are often faced with. And all of these problems that we talk about you can argue, stem from the fact that Twitch is the big fish and the streamers are little fish. Twitch is the big platform and all the streamers are just, are dependent on this platform and don't hold a lot of strength separately to be able to get Twitch to change their ways. And while I was thinking about this, the news came out this month about the IATSE strike, the International Alliance and Theatrical Stage Employees. You hear about this? This is pretty wild.
Yes, I did. Well, you can't really seem to go a few months without throwing a rock and hitting a story about some sort of guild or union having an issue out in Hollywood, which makes sense because it's a town essentially run on unions.
Yep.
Everyone has a union: the Directors Guild, the Producers Guild, the Writers Guild, the Screen Actors Guild. IATSE, the people doing that, who actually, I looked it up, also includes craft services.
Yeah.
So the people doing catering and bringing the sandwiches, all that, they are part of the, they're
The most
every single
important part
person.
of the filmmaking
Yes,
process.
yes. I mean, like the electrician's part of the IBEW. Every single person that is basically in Southern California is in a union. I think even the 7-year-olds walking around are in a union, or probably have some sort of representation at CAA, or any of the big houses, maybe UTA. I don't know, but I'm in, and so I know, because we were talking before about, well, can we use that model and take it over to the streamers?
Yeah. This is a big union, right? 60,000 members. And if they decide to go on strike, all your Netflix, Hulu, movies, all of it's gone. It grinds to a halt. And this almost happened. On October 16th, IATSE reached a deal with the film and TV studios 2 days before there was going to be a nationwide strike. So, almost had a labor dispute, but they were able to do this because they have this collective voice that's able to fight for better wages, for more rest breaks, and for other reforms. Now that deal still has to go before the full IATSE membership, but hopefully, if it is enacted, then that will mean a better standard of living for all the folks in that line of work. And so, right, as you were saying, Dave, when I think about what IATSE had and how IATSE saw that there was an inequity for their workers, they collectively bargained for something better. And so I can't help but wonder if the solution for long term for what streamers are going through right now, and what we as a podcast might want to be advocating for going forward, if we truly support creator empowerment, is forming or helping form or helping advocate for some kind of collective organization, collective action by the streamers, whether it's more boycotting or whether it is a formal streamers union. That's I wonder if that's where we're the kind of the point we're getting to. I want to bring Lauren in on this. I feel bad doing that because I know Lauren is trying to get Alex set up for his interview in the second segment, but this isn't the first time I've made her do like 10,000 things at once. But I want to bring her in because she works in this area. She works in the entertainment business. She works with unions all the time in the stage world, and so wanted to bring her in on this idea. But what got me thinking about a streamers union, the first kind of thought I had in this space, hi, Lauren, the first thing you have to approach when you're thinking about, can the Twitch streamers have a union, is you have to understand that first, they're independent contractors, right? They're not employees of Twitch. And generally, unions are employees of an employer. And most of the federal protections that union members get in terms of your boss not being able to fire you if you say you want to join a union, those federal protections from the National Labor Relations Act only apply to employees and not contractors. So that's a big hurdle for the Twitch streamers to follow, to overcome if they want to try to get, to try to unionize. But there is some potential federal reform on the horizon here. There is a new law that's making its way through the houses of Congress called the PRO Act, which would actually expand the rights under the National Labor Relations Act to some independent contractors by expanding the definition of what an employee is under union law. And so maybe that might be the route that streamers should be considering here. But wanted to see what you thought of this, Lauren. I know that when it comes to unions, you've worked on both sides of the table before, because you've worked on the performer side, you've worked on the management side. What do you think, streamers union?
Can I just say, one second. I love how you introduced your sister about 10 minutes ago, and then went on the monologue, and now you're asking.
I had to.
Hey, look. He
Was it
wanted to
clumsy?
watch my
Yes.
facial reactions when he was giving the explanation. And if he couldn't watch my face, how would he know how I react?
Anyway, I apologize for interrupting. Lauren, please give us the benefit of your wisdom.
Okay, these poor guys, they're only bringing me on because I ranted before the show. They were like, union, union. And I was like, roar. Because I'm not the hugest fan of this idea. In fact, I'm like super anti this idea. But I've been thinking, because I want to be a positive person, and I'm trying to swing my view, and I'm thinking, what about rather than a union, which I could give you all the reasons why I don't think it's in the best interest of indie creators, but what about the opposite way? Instead of unionizing the performers to fight against the big bad whatever, what about an independent organization certifying platforms? So you can say this is a creator-friendly platform. So instead of making the artists fight their battles, make a union venue online. Because I think if you create unions, you're going to have a bunch of platforms come out that are non-union platforms. You're going to have a bunch of creators that now can't work on whatever platform they want to jump to because they're not welcome. But if they're not part of a union, but rather kind of like our COVID certified venues where an independent organization comes in and says, if you want to be cautious, you're welcome to go into this venue. Why couldn't we do that with platforms for entertainers? Put together a protocol of things we would like to see on those platforms, and then have an independent organization, like the Break the Business Coalition, to say this is a Break the Business approved platform. We think that this platform looks in the best interest of the artist. Like, wouldn't that be more beneficial?
Can it be a seal of approval where it's like Dave's smiling face with like a thumbs up on the seal?
Yeah, but then that kind of gets into problems too, because remember, that's like the Comic Code Authority back in the 50s and 60s that was started, to sort of look after comic books, and sort of it became basically a censorship means in and of itself. And some people even think that that's what sometimes the MPAA does. It's just so it sounds like a good idea to start off with, but I almost feel like that just historically is your road to censorship. Plus,
I think it gives you options, though.
Yeah.
Like, you can say I can go to this venue, or I want to go to the uncensored venue. Like, you could do that.
I think the problem is, though.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh my, this guy. I think the issue is, I think ultimately, right, because this is a tough one, because everyone's independent on their own. You need, in order for all this to work, you do the whole unit. You need the collective action. You need everyone going on the same way, down the same river, following the same current. And what's obviously, sort of human nature is, there is some selfishness there, and scabs crossing a picket line. If I don't even know, Ryan, you tell me, if I'm an artist that already is streaming on any of the music services, or I'm streaming on Twitch, do I have control? Can I take everything down that's mine at any time I want, or once I'm on there, I have lost all autonomy in what I've created?
Well, the Twitch creators do own their content, right? And they can take it somewhere else. But the exclusivity that Twitch does impose on creators, which I think is a little oppressive considering that these are technically independent contractors, is if you have affiliate status on Twitch, which means you're actually monetizing on the platform, if you want to monetize on Twitch, you are prohibited from live streaming your program on any other platforms alongside Twitch. So right now, our program, Break the Business, right now we're live streaming this on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. And we can do that because we're not monetizing this channel. We have affiliate status, but we're not availing ourselves of it. If we wanted to actually get subscriptions and bits on this platform, we would only be able to live stream on Twitch and not any of the other platforms.
So right now, because no one is making any money out of the three of us on this, it's okay. But the moment you say, hey, give us $1 a month for the amazing content and the great, all the great observations and everything, and the fantastic decor behind me, the moment you have any currency change hands, it's nope, sorry, no more YouTube, no more Facebook. You guys made a penny, you're done.
Yeah, if we want to use Twitch's subscription and tipping features, then yes, we would only be able to run things on Twitch, which, by the way, is kind of a weird thing to do to independent contractors. One of the essences of an independent contractor is you can take you can work for multiple employers. Like,
first word.
If I'm an Uber driver, exactly. If I'm an Uber driver, I can drive for Uber and for Lyft and for, 10 other places. And so it's sort of weird that Twitch is going to say, hey, we don't, you don't need some of the rights that a union might have because you're free to, because you're an independent contractor, but also you're dependent on us and you're not allowed to make money anywhere else. It's interesting. In other countries, like Canada, for example, there is this notion of what are called dependent contractors, which is the law understanding that even though you're an independent contractor, if you're in a situation where that contractor only lets you work with them, you should get some of the benefits of being an employee. And so that's what the PRO Act is saying, is if you are a dependent contractor, like you'd be technically if you're with Twitch, maybe you should get some of those rights to protect you, such as the right to unionize without getting quote unquote fired.
That's actually interesting then, because then you could almost make an argument that current labor laws would protect someone, because we do have those protections where if your work is being directed by someone, just because you're labeled as an independent contractor doesn't mean you'll legally be found as one, because, an employer wants to get around that to avoid, health care or all these other things, or 40 hours or time and a half. Is there then any way to, then that's the thing, is there a way to say that someone works for Twitch? Because obviously, there is no one at Twitch HQ. I don't think Bob Twitch isn't like, hey there, I see you playing that level of Fortnite again. God damn it, you got to go play something else. Get into Warzone or something.
They're not telling you what to create, right?
Bob Twitch.
Bob Twitch.
See him in his boardroom, like, when my grandfather
Angus
Twitch started this company in the Depression.
Yes. And also, not that many people know this, but yes, they were in the boardrooms with the Rockefellers in Standard Oil, and as Lauren said at the top of her intro, she's not a fan of unions. She was big supporter of Standard Oil and Northern Securities Limited. Hated trust busting Theodore Roosevelt. Absolutely couldn't stand them.
Yes, the titans of early America, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, and the Twitches.
She's in Carnegie Hall right now. I think I saw JP Morgan scuttle across the stage.
You guys should love
JP
what's
Morgan,
going on in the chat.
JP
Neither of you
Morgan.
can see this, but Mary Amber is chatting it up. I don't know if she was here to hear us play her song earlier, but the chat is going crazy because people are kind of in this with us. And one of the comments that I just saw here was making me think of something that I was talking about earlier. Tony here said exclusivity is like the old Hollywood contract system, which is kind of like when I was mentioning earlier, Ryan's going to hate me for this, but I keep thinking of unions as the record labels of old. We've got these organizations that in theory were finding ways to help artists get their stuff out there, but in the long run, they make all of these hoops that made sense at the time, but over time you've got so many restrictions that you're actually restricting people's ability to create, and that can get in their way quite a bit. And I don't want to see that happen, which is why I fear unions. We have things like Facebook groups and communities where you can be constantly polling all of your people, see what's relevant now. And unions at this point in this stage scare me, because I don't want to see the longevity of that organization work at a detriment to their initial goals.
Lauren, let's just call it what it is. You want those kids back in the coal mine.
Do you know how many mines we aren't using right now? And a mine is a terrible thing to waste. I
don't have my sound effects board. I can't play the rim shot. Okay, I can tell that this is going to be a multi-week conversation, which I could not be happier about. Let me just end with this note before we bring in Alex, because I do want to make sure we have that conversation. To a point that Lauren made earlier, in terms of alternatives for making these reforms happen, I would like to also have us consider in subsequent episodes the idea of creator ownership of some of these platforms, at least partially. Things like decentralized autonomous organizations and other kind of empowerment platforms to actually give creators like Mary Amber a stake in these platforms like Twitch they help create. You think about like a startup organization.
REI, or that's a co-op? And then you've got Publix is an employee-owned organization.
A lot like employee co-ops, right? So when you think about when a startup happens, right, the first employees that come in, they always get equity, right? Like one of the wealthiest people in Silicon Valley is like the person who emptied the trash cans like the first week at Google, because that guy got a crap ton of equity, and now he's like a multi-billionaire. But we should be treating indie creators, especially the ones that like really help Twitch early on. They're basically the earliest employees of that platform. And so you can imagine like the next generation of Twitch. They should set aside whatever the next Twitch is going to be. It should set aside 25% of its equity as a pool for those early creators that help grow the platform.
That'd be
And imagine
awesome.
if this happened with Twitch. Twitch sold for $1 billion when it sold to Amazon. Imagine if a quarter of that was set aside for the early creators that helped grow that platform.
To
And
something
to me,
that
that
was
seems
of
fair.
value to sell for that amount.
Yeah. So we're going
Twitch
to
is
talk.
owned by Amazon.
Now.
Oh,
Yes.
so then none of this is going to happen.
Yeah. The Twitches are long
This is
gone.
a waste. This is a waste.
That's right. Bob Twitch sold to Jeff Bezos
Yes,
a few
they're
years
not.
back.
Twitch is just orbiting up the freaking world right now in a weird shaped rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
This
All right.
is this even on Twitch right now?
We're
or
getting
because-
closer to monopolies every
because-
day, aren't we?
Oh, for sure.
Because we are speaking against the one true Twitch. Will it like cease the stream?
Cease the stream.
Yeah,
Oh, because we're going anti-Twitch and we're on Twitch right now. We're not anti-Twitch. We're just hoping for reform so that they will look out for the best interest of the people performing for them.
decentralized
and
autonomous organization.
Let me make that clear, okay? Like this is like I'm not anti-Twitch. We're on Twitch,
It's
and
an
I
amazing
identify
platform.
right. I'm identifying the value it's creating for creators. I want Twitch to be better. I want it to be even better for creators because I see it as part of the future of this industry. We just need to make it a more equitable place.
And we
whether
want them on the early end of that too. We don't
That's
want
right.
Twitch to get lost when other platforms come up that are looking out for the best interest of the artist and then all of them run away to that. We're trying to get the word out now so that they improve the existing platforms to be beneficial to their creators so that the creators don't run away.
Yep.
We'll get
All right,
there
let's-
someday where we have the power.
We'll get there. Let's take a 2-minute break while I get on the phone with Bob Twitch and apologize for besmirching his platform. We have Alex Turbid coming up next on Break the Business. Do not go anywhere. Ryan Kairalla here. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. I do what I do because I care about creators like you. A lot. I've dedicated my career to helping creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and organizations move forward. I do it by hosting this program, and I'm also proud to do it in my legal practice. If you're a creative professional looking for solutions-oriented legal services to help you further your goals, I'd love to help. My firm RKPA does contracts, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Visit rkpalaw.com to learn more. That's rkpalaw.com. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back, everybody. The commenters, big fan of Bob Twitch. Dave, you should be happy to know that.
I'm sure he will be pleased. Like I said, his great great grandfather, who built this country, by the way, Angus H. Twitch, who dreamed of a way for people to communicate, freely. Now, granted, he was talking to birds a lot back
That's right.
then.
It's really
said
ahead of
first
its
week.
time.
Yeah.
I'm already waiting for the listeners to start sending us pictures of what Bob Twitch looks like and all this stuff. All right, let's go ahead and bring our guest this week. He's the co-founder of Beat Connect, a virtual collaboration and jam session platform for musicians. Beat Connect's latest project is Beat Connect Creators, a platform that will offer artists and producers ways to grow their follower base and sell interactive masterclasses and virtual meet and greets. You can find out more by visiting www.beatconnect.com. We are happy to welcome Alex Turbid on to Break the Business. Hello, Alex.
Hey guys, thank you for having me
Alex.
over.
It is a pleasure to be speaking with you, sir. I I hope that our silliness in the last segment didn't make you run for the hills there.
I love
We're
it.
having
I
fun.
love it. I'm ready to invest in whatever Bob Twitch's next move is going to be, you know?
All right. You're all listening to Break the Business here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Sirius XM channel 145. Forgot to mention that at the top, so I have to sneak that in there now. Alex, let's start off by just learning more about Beat Connect. Talk about how your platform just gets artists collaborating, which is all the more important now with everybody kind of stuck in their homes, still a little bit on the back end of this pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. So the idea behind Beat Connect when we initially started was, if you look at the tools that are out there to create music today, the biggest one is going to be your digital audio workstation. So for those that are not necessarily familiar with those systems, it's basically just a software to organize the different tracks, the sound, the effects, whatever you use to create music. Now, the problem is you're going to have about 20 of them out there that are kind of like sharing the whole market. So if you're using, let's say, Ableton, which is a very popular DAW out there, and I'm using Fruity Loop, we're going to have a very, very hard time making music together because those systems were just not designed to work together and to be compatible. So Beat Connect is basically our take on breaking down those silos and just making it accessible for creators and musicians and producers to just do what they do best without kind of like the hurdle that's been put for the past 20 years.
I dig that. And I know that platforms like Beat Connect are taking some strides in actually not just helping artists collaborate, but generate revenue from those collaborations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That is something that is basically, we launched it this week. It's super, super new.
Oh, hot off the presses.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're your first interview. I mean, I
know,
don't know
right?
if that's true, but we're going to say it's true.
It is. Anyway, bottom line, you were talking about Twitch earlier, and I love that combo because you guys basically nailed. This is exactly what we saw when we kind of like launched creators. We saw this industry that is stagnating because you have the Instagram, you have the TikToks, you have YouTube, and all those platforms, they own basically the creators, whatever they do, because they're stuck in that ecosystem where they don't have the data, they can't reach their audience, they can't do anything if they step out of that environment. You have some, initiatives out there that are trying to kind of give back to those creators, but it's an uphill battle, 100%. And one of the things that we're actually trying to do right now is leverage the technology that we've built with Beat Connect, which allows anybody to create music remotely using any software and any tool, and just give it to those creators and say, look, this is something that you can use to make music with your audience, monetize the whole process so that you're not 100% financially dependent on those platforms. And then afterward, if you want to distribute the content that you've created, either on Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, you're free to do so. So it's really, for us, it's just a tool for creators to do a new kind of interactive content with their audience.
And I've heard that you're seeing artists using this platform, you're using this new Beat Connect initiative to create things like interactive masterclasses, virtual meet and greets, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's no secret for us that like education is a huge thing in terms of like what the music collaborative sphere can become in the future. And a lot of educators who are currently swamped because they're working, with, let's say, 40 different students all over the world, and they have to manage all of the stems and the different sounds, and they get it by email and whatever. And with Beat Connect, like I don't want to toot my own horn, but we kind of make it easier for them because it's just one place. Thank you for that.
I had to. I couldn't resist.
It's really that one-stop shop where they can basically go. They don't need Zoom because we have the integrated video. Everything is saved to the cloud. You have different studios for every people that you want to work with. So it's a no-brainer that if you are a musician that has something to teach, it's a great platform for you.
All right, put on your futurist hat here for us, because we're seeing what Beat Connect's doing now, and we're pretty excited about it. What about 5 years from now? What does the future of virtual collaboration for artists look like to you? How much of it is Dave? Is it just Dave like creating all kinds of crazy master classes, creating all this great educational content to spread his gospel throughout the world, or is there other cool innovations on the horizon for us?
Are you trying to get me to open up my roadmap or something?
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. It's just you, me,
it's
Dave,
just you and I, right?
and the entire of the internet. Just, we're all friends here.
For sure. Like I'm gonna share some stuff. We've been greatly inspired by video games. Like we're all gamers. All the founders and the people that are in the business, and we look at what gaming has been doing in the last, let's say, 10 years. It's mind blowing. The creativity, the products, the way they've allowed, not only through Twitch but like through just different games. You look at the Among Us, basically. Just, I don't know if you saw like the craze that was going up in the pandemic, but the ability that content creators have today with the in the gaming industry is something that we want to bring to music. So it's not only just having a platform to interact with people, but it's also giving them the tools that they need to actually create that extra kind of like juicy content. So right now you have virtual instruments, you have samples, you have all of the things that are required to make music that are kind of stuck on your own computer. Obviously, we want to kind of democratize that and again break down the wall and just make it accessible to everyone, so that if you are a new musician, you don't have a couple of years ahead of you until you actually feel like you're able to create something. So lowering that barrier to entry without actually, saying everything that we have in mind. We look 5 years in the future. That's the goal number one. Music creation has to be fun and it has to be easy and accessible. Otherwise, you're just gonna kill innovation. It's just gonna be the old guard doing what they do, and then it's gonna die out.
Come on, tell us the crazy secrets. I know you guys already have like the hologram planned in the works, where like you can actually make your bandmates appear in the room with you as holograms, and you're just like jamming together in real time, like they're all there. You made the holodeck from Star Trek. Just tell us.
Yeah. Now, for real, I think the one thing that we see as being like a big step for us, which is going to be in the next 6 months, because we have the platform already built, which is crazy hard to get right, by the way, just because of all the different DAWs that are out there. But because we have that technology, we are in a position to kind of like host virtual instruments in the cloud and allow people to, like, if you tweak a knob, if you click a note or whatever, it's going to be propagated to all the different players. So you're looking at real-time collaboration on a whole new level now. It's not just me playing in my DAW. It's me actually using instruments in real time with different people and having the ability to teach them and having the ability to kind of like go back on what was done and implement on those changes, almost, kind of like a decision tree, if you will, because you can version it and you can go back, and it's basically going to be the best tool for you to kind of like tutor, teach, but also kind of be inspired.
I am so excited about this. All right. Now, generally, Alex, when we have guests in this room that I feel like get what we're doing around here and are sort of participating in our silliness, I feel like we can feel comfortable asking you one good pop culture question. Now, I have heard from your coworkers that you're something of a movie buff. And so I wanted to ask you, what is your most controversial movie opinion? What is the movie opinion you have that just starts fights?
Oof. I'll say, and I'm gonna get some hate for that, but Fight Club is super overrated.
Whoa! I asked for controversial. What do you think, Dave?
I mean, it's not a big movie for me in my life, honestly. I know. I kind of agree. I mean, it's just whatever. It's interesting. I mean, once you've seen it once, it's kind of like, all right, you got it. I guess you can see some. Well, it's kind of late for spoilers. Once you know that he's Tyler Durden, you can sort of see the clues later on. But I agree, it's not. It's held up as this thing. To me, it's like a Pulp Fiction. Get the hell out of here. It's nowhere near like Pulp Fiction level.
Oh, you're both ridiculous.
Supposed to be
that movie's amazing.
this kind of like a critique on the place of men in today's society, but it kind of falls flat when you're actually kind of like not making it clear to the audience, and you just create a generation that wants to be Tyler Durden, kind of like confirming the own bias that you were trying to deconstruct. Anyway.
Actually, let me ask you a question now, just because I'm curious, and forgive me, I don't know exactly when B Connect started. I'm very sorry, but I have to wonder, because did you guys start before pandemic or right at sort of at the beginning?
Okay, so I'm sure you've had many people on the podcast, talking about their business, and I hope that most of them say the same thing. One of the most important things in a business is luck and timing. And man, did we get it on this one, because we started right before the pandemic. We didn't know anything
Wow.
was going to happen. It was just me and my buddy. We were working at kind of like this very government type job, and we're like, man, we can't die here. We have to do something. This is too boring. And we're passionate guys, and we're kind of like thinking it through. What is this thing that we think we can crack? What is this nut that we think we can crack that is a problem out there, that is not just, let's do a B2B business and call it a day, like what's something we can grow into? And this to me kind of like rang true on all the notes. It was perfect. So we started in January 2020. And as you know, February it started getting clear. So like we had the perfect runway to just go through this thing.
So you guys were like all together, basically almost of two minds, like, oh my God, this is terrible. Everyone's locked up in their houses. Yay! This is really great. The greatest test ever.
Yeah, it really was. But the good thing though about it is that it's not something that's going to go away when basically pandemic's going to be resolved. Even if there's another pandemic, that's not the thing. This problem has been there for 20 years. People are making music together all over the world, but there's no one good way to do it today. There's Beat Connect now, but before that,
Yeah,
there was
and
no real good way to do it. So
I mean, heck, even like during the pandemic, I mean, Metallica released a song, all four of them in their separate homes and everything, doing it. So I'm assuming they did Beat Connect, because Beat Connect is the only program out there. You can't do this anywhere else. You can't. No one else has unlocked this technology. Only the Quebecois have unlocked the technology.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I did want to say, I did see that you are from Montreal. I haven't been there in a few years. Unfortunately, I had a space where I was like there every year for 4 years. Absolutely love it, man. I got to get back.
So it's a beautiful city, and in the last couple of years, the amount of like tech startup and the tech scene has been growing so much. If you love music and if you love tech, man, it's the city to be in, and we're so glad to be doing this in Montreal, at this time and point in time.
Yeah, and if you love poutine, that helps too.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna set me up for this one.
Okay, so all right, so then let me ask you, because I mean, I went to the I can't remember which street it was on. I went to. I'm sorry, Ryan, but you're done. You're
There's
done.
always time for
You're done.
poutine questions.
But I went to La Banquise.
Yes.
It has all the different various types. So I mean, are you a classicist? It's just give me the fries, the gravy, the cheese curds, or do you go crazy?
Dude, whatever rocks your boat. It's like for me, it's as long as there's a lot of cheese curds and you got enough sauce in there, you can put whatever you want.
Wait, I'm not
Honestly,
familiar with the alternative poutine arrangements. I know about the cheese curds. I know about the gravy on the fries. What else are people putting on their French fries, and why am I not eating it right now?
can put whatever, like fried chicken. You're gonna have some people are gonna, oh yeah, it gets crazy. You have spaghetti sauce. It's honestly that's the beauty of poutine. It could be whatever you want.
All right, next week poutine taste test on the program would be great.
Yeah.
We'll have you back next week. We're all going to eat poutine together. You can find out more about our guest work by visiting www.beatconnect.com. Alex, this has been really awesome chatting with you, hearing about the future of artist collaboration online. Before we let you go, one last question. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
We've actually been talking with a lot of indie creators. The kind of the bread and butter of our creators program is really the people that have a following between 15 and 150,000 followers, because those are the one that really want to grow and make an impact on the scene. And everybody's been saying the same thing, and we kind of agree with that, is focus on the audience that is most engaged to you. Don't try to kind of do a shotgun approach and shoot in every direction and please everyone. Do something that you're good at and just focus on that, pummel it down, and just work with your audience to make sure that you find that fit, that niche, and then you're just going to grow. It's going to happen.
Love it. Alex, thank you so much for the awesome conversation. The fact that now I'm salivating because we talked about poutine. I enjoyed that too.
I got to get one now.
Yeah. God. I mean, unfortunately, that's not a big thing here in Miami or in Tampa where Dave is, but we'll find it because now I have a hankering for it. Thank you so much for being on the show this week. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you on again real soon.
Awesome. It was a pleasure. And invite me whenever. I'll come back.
That's what we like to hear. gosh, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, I forgot. I got to tell them, for Beat Connect, I really hope it's like their slogan is Beat Connect, connect the beats. It's
Man,
so
why were you?
simple yet effective.
It's right up there with a mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes. No, Alex was absolutely great, man. And talk about timing. I had a feeling. I'm like, these have got to be one of the few guys in the world that's like, keep us locked in, keep us locked in.
Aw.
Yeah. But
You have him actively wishing for pandemic.
No, it's. I don't think. No, today's not a show of people wishing for pandemics and wishing for child labor. Okay, let's not that be this show.
Yeah,
okay,
the positions we've been endorsing. No, it is absolutely. We know the official position of Beat Connect is staunchly anti-pandemic. Don't worry, we love you guys.
Oh man, it's so fun. We're almost at the 60-minute mark.
Yes, indeed. Well, we got
time flies.
Well, we got about 8 minutes left, so don't feel too pressured, Dave. We got some space here, but Lauren, let's have you come in again and chat with us because I want to give Lauren an opportunity to talk to us a bit about the really cool entertainment project she's got coming up that I know you, Dave, as a Star Wars fan, are going to get a kick out of. Oh, look at the Star Wars beanie cap. There you go.
So I have spent the last decade on tour with a wonderful Canadian man named Charles Ross. And he's had a license to do this show with Lucasfilm for 20 years. And after 20 months of not being allowed to tour with him, Charlie and his one-man Star Wars trilogy is back on tour now. And we have a bunch of U.S. dates coming up next month. So if you happen to be in Broward, Palm Beach, Wenatchee, Washington, Thousand Oaks, Irvine, Portland, or Fort Worth, Texas, we'd love to see you. And if you're not on that list, call your local theater and say, hey, I heard about this show, One Man Star Wars Trilogy. You guys should really get that in here. And we'd be happy to tour to a theater near you.
That's actually interesting. I never even thought about this. So he obviously had the license prior to the Disney deal. So then when the Disney deal happened, did he get a call or did he have to call someone? Did he have to call Bob Disney?
We basically held our breath and freaked out for like a year and a half because like our license extended through. We had a 5-year license and it extended through the transition. And then like we're coming up on the renewal. No one's replying. No one's happening. We don't know what's going on in the transition. And we were probably a few months past the actual renewal before they just all of a sudden sent us a renewal. But like in time of confusion, we actually sat around going like, wonder if the mouse is going to let us do this show anymore.
I do want us to not lose sight of the fact that every time Dave brings up an exec, like who the CEO is of a particular company,
it's Bob.
It's always Bob, and then the last name is the name of the company.
You're blaming me. Blame the parents. These are the people that have named their children. I can't do anything like that. All right. I'm not trying to erase them. You guys are trying to out there cancel them just because someone's named Bob. How dare you? Bob's built this country, all right? Bob America.
Hey, Bob did build the barricades. Country. I'm just saying.
Bob's, yeah. I imagine that sounds kind of funny, Lauren, because honestly, you guys are thinking like, all right, they're very busy right now. They're sorting through this multi-billion-dollar empire of, no pun intended, of George Lucas and, getting all the new films ready for J.J. Abrams. But, I'm sure somewhere on the spreadsheet, they're like, what's this?
What is that? Well, it is
a
cool
was
show,
a guy
Dave.
Traveling around the country with a woman in tow, just doing the movies?
Oh my gosh. And now just to get really nerdy on you, when I started, we just had the one-man Star Wars trilogy and one-man Lord of the Rings. We now also have one-man Dark Knight, one-man Avengers I just did in Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin. And then we have one-man Stranger Things and one-man Pride and Prejudice, because you can be a nerd about anything you want.
Does one man come in the name of love?
No, not yet.
Okay. The U2 song?
I don't know.
You know what? Screw you guys. You keep going like one man, this one, this. I'm going, one man comes in the name of. Oh, sorry, can't use that. Yeah.
Careful,
We're
like
gonna get muted,
one or
number
two
one.
more notes, and we would have gotten muted by Twitch there.
Oh, such thing. If you want money, they don't let you do it, but they obviously they try to come in and take your money. Bob Twitch, son of a gun. Bob freaking Twitch.
So I know you're going to be excited for this one-man Star Wars show, Dave. I know you're going to want to check it out because for those of you who are not familiar with Metal Dave's work on this show, going all the way back to episode 1, you will be hard-pressed to find a bigger Star Wars fan. He is the biggest. I've wanted to ask you about this. I know that Disney World has this new hotel that they're creating where it's basically like you get to LARP as a Star Wars character for 2 days in this Star Wars universe they've created. You're going to be like in the front of the line for this, right?
Did you actually read the story when they came out with the pricing for it?
Yeah, it is absurdly expensive.
It's like $6,000 for a 2-night hotel stay.
Okay.
So, and that's not. And that's
So you're only going to go like 3
$6,000
times, right?
for just that in like the one park. So and like, I love Disney. I do. We're here in the States, but man, oh man, the dollar doesn't get what it used to. Because it's like you buy that and you still have to then get like the park hopper too on top of it. They've got rid of the fast pass. I'm terribly ashamed to say I actually have yet to go to Galaxy's Edge since it has opened. I wanted to go before pandemic, and once the pandemic happened, I'm like, this doesn't seem too responsible. So no. And now with baby on the way, suddenly paying all that stuff also doesn't seem too responsible. So I'm in this part where I have to be an adult. I have to be a 36-year-old adult. Who would have thunk it?
So,
Rough.
Dave, the guest that week, since obviously you weren't paying attention to the podcast, so you have to go back. But the guest that week proposed something right up your alley. When we were talking about this, he said, man, I got to get my agent or my PR guy on getting me in there. Like, it's not about figuring out how you can pay that. It's about figuring out how they can bring you in so that you can promote it for them, since you happen to be one of the biggest Star Wars fans and you have this platform on XM radio. You have to reach out to them for this.
So then
Break
shouldn't
the
that be
Business
your
is gonna open
department?
up for the
Isn't
cantina
this your
there.
department?
Get on that, Lauren.
Isn't that what you're being paid or not paid? Not paid for,
In all fairness, I should be like, hey, I've been on tour with a Star Wars show for the last decade. You totally want us to visit.
You can do that. You can say you've been a key cog in the Star Wars production for the past 20 years. It's like, oh my God, you worked with J.J. Abrams? You just go,
So Disney has actually asked him to do the show and at the park and things like that, but they want like a 5-show day. And any indie creator out there can understand that, like, though the show might happen for an hour and a half, like, it takes a lot out of you to perform. So it's not just a matter of how many shows you can fit in a day. It's how many you can actually physically handle.
so understudy.
Yeah, that's, one day when he retires, we're going to hire a whole bunch of college kids to learn the show. And then we'll just put it on in rotation format at a theme park somewhere. That'd be wonderful.
As much as I love watching Charles Ross do one-man Star Wars, because I have seen the show and it is wonderful, and I can't wait to see it again when it gets down to South Florida, I think Dave understudying for that show, like if I was sitting in the audience and I just heard over the loudspeaker, filling in for the role of Charles Ross this evening will be Metal Dave, I would lose my mind. I'd be so happy.
I will come out and say, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're expecting is for me to do this show, but I thought we'd do something a little bit different tonight and a little bit fun. We're going to watch the movies. That's right. Yes.
We're all just going to sit here and watch the
See,
movies.
now
Yes.
you
We
take
paid to
that
see
many
you do
movies.
it. I know, but now you're just going to watch these guys do it.
Well, it's like, but we condense it. You know what I mean? Like you can get all those movies into an hour and a half versus like, hey, I know you thought you were going to be here for an hour and a half, but now you're going to be here for 14 hours. Yay!
Okay, our thanks to Alex Turbid. Thanks to Beats Connect. Thanks, Metal Dave. Thank you, Lauren, for helping us put this amazing show together every week. And thank you all for watching and listening Break the Business. We'll see you next week.
Nelson.
The biz.